I raised this issue on Tuesday and I do so again today because of the importance of this matter, and that is about the recent volume of meningitis cases that have caused huge worry amongst parents, in particular the fact that a number of children have unfortunately passed away as a result of meningitis in the last number of weeks, and I'm sure I speak for everybody in this House when I say that we send our deepest sympathy to the families of those concerned at this very difficult time. We know that meningitis is a horrible, horrible condition and is one that all parents fear, myself included as a father of young children, and I'm sure that you're no different, Taoiseach. It's a cause of major concern, distress and justifiable worry that the availability of the meningitis type B vaccine is not available for children. The programme for government commits to extending the childhood vaccination to include vaccination against meningitis B, and that was done, but it was done for children that were born since October 2016. For children born before October 2016, availing of the vaccine costs up to €450, and it's not available for free for parents or children who have a medical card. And you know as well as I do, Taoiseach, that this is a considerable amount of money and that most parents simply can't afford the cost of this vaccine, particularly if they have more than one child. That means that the vast majority of children over the age of 3 are not vaccinated against meningitis B. And that's an extremely worrying situation for us who want to eradicate such a strain, but also, and more importantly, an extremely worrying situation for parents, Taoiseach. GPs have come out in the last number of days and weeks and said that they are inundated with calls about this vaccine. We've had Dr Matthew O'Toole, who is the President of the National Associations of General Practitioners. He went as far as to say that this amounted to medical apartheid. And he's absolutely right, he's spot on when he says that, because we now have a situation that those who can afford this vaccine are vaccinated and protected, and those who can't afford it are left vulnerable and open to this condition. And it leads to significant stress and anxiety on parents in relation to the choices that they face. I appreciate that meningitis B has not been identified as the case of the reported deaths, but it has been identified amongst the cases notified to the HSE. So, if making the vaccine available to all children is something that can be done, Taoiseach, it is something that should be done and must be done. So, can I ask if consideration is being given to what the tens of thousands of parents across the state and thousands of GPs across the state are calling for? That is to ensure that a catch-up programme is now put in place for all children up to the age of 18 for meningitis B, to ensure that our children are protected from this strain. And finally, can I say that this was done for meningitis C, so surely there can be no reason, bar political will, that we can't do it for meningitis B, Taoiseach.
Yeah, Deputy, first of all, I want to thank you for raising this issue. I'm also a father of young children, as are many people in this House. Just to outline how the system works. The Primary Childhood Immunisation Scheme was amended in 2016 to include the introduction of the meningitis B vaccine for all babies born on or after the 1st of October 2016. This change to the immunisation scheme took effect from the 1st of December in 2016. The first dose of the vaccine is administered to children when they reach 2 months of age. The second dose is administered at 4 months and the final dose at 12 months. Meningitis B disease is most common in babies under the age of 1 year, and the timing of the administration of the vaccine under the immunisation programme is provided on this basis. All vaccines administered through the Primary Childhood Immunisation Scheme are provided free of charge. There are no plans to introduce a catch-up programme for older children at this stage, which is what you're asking about. Ireland is the second country in Europe to make the vaccine available free of charge as part of its national immunisation programme. I think it is important to say and to reassure parents that it should be noted that no deaths, to our knowledge, have occurred that can be attributed to meningitis B. And I know that you've confirmed that as well, Deputy, and you're not saying that that's the case, but I think parents are asking that question, and I think it's important to clarify it for them. The National Immunisation Advisory Committee makes recommendations in relation to at-risk groups, but not all of these are included in the current immunisation scheme. That committee's recommendations are based on the epidemiology of the relevant vaccine preventable disease in Ireland as determined by the Health Protection Surveillance Centre and international best practice in relation to immunisation. And so what that's saying in normal speak is that we are proceeding here with caution, taking the advice of medical experts and the committee that's in charge of making recommendations to government in this area. And if we felt that extending this scheme, as you suggest, was the right thing to do in terms of healthcare, then that is what we would be doing. But that's not the recommendation at this stage.
Deputy Doherty.
Taoiseach, you mentioned, as I did, that none of the deaths so far have presented as a result of the meningitis B strain. But you must acknowledge that the reported cases to the HSE where children have meningitis B are those that there are reported cases in terms of meningitis B. Thankfully, there have been no deaths so far, and we want to ensure that that is the case into the future. You talk about the National Immunisation Advisory Committee. The reality is that they wrote to the department back in June of last year. They're carrying out a review in relation to this, and the department still hasn't got their recommendations. In the middle of all of that, we have an outbreak. I think it's up to 20 cases now that have been identified. There is the National Association of General Practitioners are calling for this to be rolled out, a catch-up programme to be rolled out. We have tens of thousands of parents who are going to signing online petitions. We have creches and schools that are alerting the parents and families to look at this issue. And we have parents that are sitting at home saying, what do I do? Jack is immunised because Jack is only 2. But Mary, because she's 4, isn't immunised. And what do I do? Because I don't have the €450 to actually protect my child. And God forbid,
Deputy, thank you. The time is up.
And I'm finishing this. God forbid anything would happen. Minister, there is a review on the table. It hasn't reported. When is your understanding that that review in relation to this issue will be completed? And can we not, as a state, involve ourselves in a catch-up? Why is the political will not there? Do you dispute the fact from those medical professionals in the National Association of General Practitioners when they say this policy is medical apartheid? Do you not accept that that is exactly what the case, and you're forcing parents to choose which child to protect and which child to leave vulnerable?
Deputy, I can assure you there's no issue with political will here. This is about doing the right thing on the basis of medical advice. And on taking recommendations of experts, in this case the committee that is responsible for making recommendations in relation to immunisation schemes. I think it's important to try to reassure parents that meningitis B disease is most common in babies under the age of 1. Obviously, all children under the age of 1 are currently covered by the current immunisation programme. That being said, as you say, this issue is being kept under review. Once that is completed, the Minister and the Department will be able to provide further clarification.